Oh, what about you? If in the garage today on the ramp we have an Audi A4. It's quite a new one. This is a 2016 model year, and this one has the TFSI engine. So this one here has a 2-litre petrol engine. There's your 4 coil packs there, and the Audis are longitudinal, and this one has the semi-automatic gearbox in the back there. So engine throws right at the front. So what we're going to do in this one today is we're just going to do a service. There's 44,000 miles in this car, so the spark plugs should be changed at 40. In these, I actually recommend doing them earlier than that, about 30. So we don't know whether the spark plugs have ever been changed in this. They're quite expensive because they're iridium or they're platinum plugs. So the purpose of this video, I'm not going to show you the whole service. That's the oil filter cap there. So there's a couple of special tools that you need to do a service in these cars, these more modern Volkswagen Audi group cars. So you don't need a special tool for that, that's easy enough. But there's a special tool for the oil drain plug. Now you can use a screwdriver and all that, but it's a plastic bung in the sump, and you need a special tool to take them coil packs out as well. So I'm just going to show you those, and that's what we're going to do in this wee video here. So with the under tray removed, we can see we have a plastic sump bung, and it's a plastic sump as well. So there is a special tool for removing this, and it just sort of quarter turns out, and I'll just show you that whenever I get it out. So there's I have a couple of these. There's one that takes a 3/8 socket, and it's just like a wee flat blade with a couple of wee grooves on it there. And in the edit, I'll type in I'll flag up the OE part number for these wee tools, and there's another version there, and it just slides in like that, and you just screw it out anti-clockwise the way you would normally do a sump bung. So you could put a screwdriver in there, and but you run the risk of butchering it up if I can get my hand out of the way. But I think I'll just use this one here. So I'll just get the camera out of the road, and I'll take that out and show you it a bit better. Right, so that's the wee plastic sump bung out, and I'll show you that wee tool again. So that's one there, and that's one there with quarter hacks. So the equivalent OEM number there is T for Tango 10549, and I'll put that in a bit of writing there. But the wee sump plug itself, as you can see there, it's like a coarse thread on it. So there's just a couple of turns on that, and you have a wee rubber there, and the wee O-ring there, and it just takes a couple of turns, and that fits in. And when it's snug, so you don't really tighten this, you just put it in until it's snug in, and it sort of just draws itself in on that coarse thread there. So hopefully that's coming out. Yeah, we'll get it there. So that's the thread on it there. It's just basically a spiral, and that's the inside of it. So the wee tool just fits in like that, and there's hardly any force required to remove that. It's just a wee turn on it. That's why you can get these with a wee quarter hacks on it, so you don't need any sort of force at all on it. So there's no torque setting as such. If there is, it's only going to be like 8 Newton meters or something. But you just put it in until it's snug. So that's one of the OE tools. Now you find this sump bung on what they call the Generation 3 engines. This engine code of this car is a CVKB engine. So that's a Charlie Victor Kilo Bravo engine, and it's a 2-litre TFSI petrol. So you'll find that as well on Golf Mark 7s, the 4-cylinder TDI engines, and it also does the cam cover. So there's a wee screw like that on the cam cover of the latest 1.6 and 2 litre twin cam diesel engines found in the VAG range. So that's one wee special tool you need. As I said, you could put a screwdriver in there, a wee flat screwdriver, and just do it with that. So you could do away with that, but that there is designed just to fit snugly. There are a couple of wee slots there, you can see, that could take a wee screwdriver, or you could put a screwdriver in that way with it. So just thought I would show you that, because that's what we're seeing now. And just may as well just show you the oil filter. So that's the oil filter cap off, 32mm that one there, and that's the oil filter we're going to use. That's actually what was in it there. There was a MAN filter that was in it, so that's exactly the same as that. And there's cross references there if you need it. So that's the MAN number and Bosch number and other numbers there. So just to get a look at that, it's that type of filter there. And you get the O-ring for the cap. Okay, handy enough. So I'll just show you this going in again. I'm just going to put it in by hand. And you know when it's in because it just clicks into place. So I'm just putting this in by hand. I've no ratchet on it or anything like that. So it finds its own thread because it's that coarse. And you just turn it until, there we go, clicks into place. And that's it. Easy. Wee bonds. So our oil filter is changed. That's screwed back down again. This thing here that looks like a dipstick, that is not a dipstick. That's just a wee, you can prise that off if you want, but there's nothing in that. That's just a wee plug. So you could take that off and put an oil drainer in there, and you could change the oil that way. But I don't generally use oil drainers because you don't get all the oil out. So there's no dipstick in this car, so you just need to know the capacity. In this engine, it's 5.2 litres. So I'm just going to take that off and put 5.2 litres in it, and we'll be grand. So that's our 5.2 litres of oil put in there. I put 5W30 in for the flexible service in this. So as you can see, we've got the loom removed. So it is quite fiddly. There's a lot of stuff you need to disconnect to get this loom free. There's a cable tie on here which I released just so that was a bit freer. So because all these have to sort of come off at the same time. So you could release these plastics, I suppose, but I think it's doable that way. So it is quite tight, and you need to take all the earth connections off. They're just held in by 10mm nuts on there, and a few wee clips released. And there's another one disconnected, and there's a wee clip released from there, just to make that a bit freer there, you know, just to free it up. But anyway, these coil packs. So you may be seeing that number 2 cylinder there, that the coil pack isn't central to, you know, the boot that goes down into the spark plug well. So that's it. So there's a special tool to remove these, and this is another special tool you need to have for these engines. You can break these dead easy. So what can happen is if you start prying underneath there, start prying that up, you know, if you rock that coil that way or that way, it can remove it from the boot, and the boot can remain inside, and you will have some diffs getting that boot out. The other thing is, you just break the coil actually. So I'm going to show you this one, this number 1. I've got that. We'll screw that out like that. Get that over the side. So we have this. If you haven't seen this before, this is the tool for removing these coils in these VAG group cars, and that is a T10530, and I'll put that in writing up the screen here for you there while I'm talking. So that what we'll do, that expands at the bottom there, and we'll put that in that hole, expand it so it grips, and get a good grip. You maybe even need 2 hands to get a grip on that, and you pull it straight up. So we're going to give that a go now. Okay, so we'll get our tool into place, and it goes the opposite direction there to tighten it up. That's clockwise there. So that's it. You need a good grip on this, and a good straight pull like that, and that's her out. No problem with this with a proper tool. So that's us now. We'll have all four coil packs removed. They weren't too bad in this car, but it does look as if with the plugs that nothing's ever been disconnected there before. It just doesn't look as if it's been disturbed. So we're going to give it a bit of a scoot with the old air blaster here. That's before we take the plugs out. Right into the welds there. Okay, that's ready to take the spark plugs out. So it's just an ordinary style spark plug socket for that. It's nothing special about that. On this particular application, and we'll pull these out. I'm suspecting that these have never been changed before. There's 44,000 miles in this car. The recommend for change is 40,000, and I recommend 30. I think I might have mentioned that at the start, but here we go. We'll see what this looks like here. So I haven't had these out yet, so you're going to see this in real time. So this is a magnetic spark plug socket that I like to use, and for deep wells like this, it's the ticket. So let's see. There's a bit of electrode left in that, alright. And Bosch plugs, doesn't say Volkswagen on it. So they may have been changed before, but they look quite, yeah, they look as if they've been in there a while. So we're going to go ahead and change them. So yeah, they weren't too bad of a condition there. Maybe get you in the focus a bit better now. What happens when these are in for a while is the central electrode burns back, and it creates an awful, quite a big gap. And yeah, but the thing about these plugs is that washer is a crush washer. So if you see that one there's been flattened onto the cylinder head, and this is our new one. This is an NGK one. This is a laser. Just turn that light off. You can see it there. There's an NGK laser platinum, and there's our electrode. But if you look at the washer is a whole lot thicker. That's clearly a crush washer on that. So if you remove these plugs, it's, you know, you really need to replace them anyway if you want to get a good seal on the cylinder head there. So yeah. So the other thing about these plugs is 22 newton meters in that, and that's for the indexing, which means that the earth electrode, you need the earth electrode to point towards the exhaust. So with that torque, that crushes that washer and puts that into the exact place where this needs to land when it goes into the cylinder head. So the torque spec, very important, and the crush washer there, and you can see that one there has been flattened. So I've probably said this before in the channel, if you're an avid follower there, no copper grease or anti-seize, none of that nonsense on these. These are electroplated, and there is, if you look on the NGK website, there is a bulletin on that. You do not put anything in these threads. That'll kick up the heat and they'll jam in. So completely free. The other wee thing, you want to make sure the ceramic is nice and clean as well. You don't want any oil from your dirty fingers on it. So I give that a wee wipe with a tissue just before it goes in. So we'll offer it up in, and starting the threads behind. The wee magnetic socket there holds that well for these deep well applications. and start it by hand. Every time start it by hand, and you definitely don't drop the spark plug into the well. You no way ever even dream of doing that. So we'll get that down nicely until, there we go, feel it home. And 22 Newton meters on this, and that'll crush that washer. So there was about a turn and a half there I did. That's it, starting to crush the washer. And there we go. Perfect. So I just need to do the rest in there. So that's all the plugs torqued up and the coil packs put back in again. And there's 2 or 3 plugs there that I had to disconnect to free up that loom there. So just making sure that they're all plugged in again. That white one there is the lambda sensor. It is clearly in the way there, and it disconnected the one to the high pressure pump, and there's another wee sensor down there. So that's just to free the loom up, and all 4 of those will come out simultaneously. It is a bit of a flaff, but it's doable. And as I said, you could pull the wiring loom out of that plastic cover there, but they're still into the plug connector. So it's not going to free up. So anyway, we'll just tune you out. The next wee bit we're going to do in this car is, and this is a bit of a thing where manufacturers' recommendations, you just say to yourself, that's just too much for this. So here we are, replacing air filter element and Audi A4, all other engines, 57,000 miles or 90,000 kilometers. There's 44,000 miles on this car. So if that's what Audi's recommendation is, it's sure as shooting that this air filter has never been replaced. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it out and take a wee look at it. And I have a new one there to replace it. So I'm not gonna take the old one out and put it back in again, regardless of its condition. But we'll have a wee look at this air box, because I suspect it's probably never been removed, if that's the recommendation. So it's a pretty standard air box, just a lot of torque screws, clip on it, and you lift it off, disconnect the MAF sensor, and there's a wee bit of design's been put into this. If you haven't seen this type before, I've seen this type. You get this type on the TDIs, but this one here is really only for this car. So the air filter doesn't look too bad, but it's there's a lot of debris being sucked up in there. The air filter isn't dirty itself, but there's a lot of flies and muck in it there. So we're going to replace that. And this rotates, so you pull it anti-clockwise on that wee clip there. And let's see if I can do that. It doesn't want to come for the minute. We just release this wee top clip here and give it a helping hand with my finger, and that'll spin off. So it's a genuine Audi filter made by Man there. So I have a genuine one, because these are actually my local car parts store actually didn't stock this, and there wasn't any in the wholesalers either. So I just got one from Audi, and we know it's the correct one. But what I want to show you with this is the state of this airbox. So this is what I find quite a lot, when I'm servicing cars, especially this one that I've never serviced before. This guy's only owned this about 8 months or maybe a year or something. So this is the first time I've serviced this car, and it's the first time this guy's got anything done to it from he bought it. He hasn't got it from new, he's bought it, and it's now 4-year-old and it's out of warranty. But that's what happens when you either just replace the insert and you don't clean the airbox out, because it's obviously more hassle to do that. Now you could get a vacuum cleaner, vacuum that out, but I'm gonna pull this airbox out and give it a good wipe out. But there's a lot of dead flies in there, a few leaves, and a lot of dirt. So if I put a new air filter into that, it'll just suck all that up into the new air filter again. So that's what I see quite a bit. If with that recommendation with Audi, that thing's probably never been out. So I just removed the airbox there, not a big deal to do that, and give it a good clean out, and best I could anyway. So there's our new one. You can see it is an Audi one. So I'll compare that to our old one. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to change that. So yeah, I think I recommend the 57,000 megs. It's just crazy, you know. So our filter changed, and changed the cabin filter as well there. So just changed all the filters. It's a lifetime fuel filter in these as well. So it's a start-stop bio on this here. So we just hold that in, and the ignition lights come on, and we've got inspection due there. Now, whenever the car came to me, it said service and inspection due. So we can go into this mode button here, and you go across these tabs, and it'll tell you inspection due, and there's the radio, and what's that? It's something to do with Bluetooth or something. Some sort of compass thing. It's a speed. So yeah, when this car came to me initially, inspection due. So I've go into this thing here. You want to turn that around the car, and press the big round knob, and it goes into that. So you want to hit that over that way to the left. So you're wanting to get this wee tab here up. So we dump that to the left, and it brings up this other menu here. So we can go into vehicle settings, drive assist, servicing and checks, and there's your oil level there, and that's the instructions for that. So I'll not show you that, but service intervals. Okay, so I changed that. You can change the reset oil change interval dead easy here, and it'll go to 18,000 or a year. So I'll just do that again. There we go. Do you really want to do it? Yes. So that's been reset, and it's just going to go back to what it was because I already done. But we still have this bio here. Inspection due. So you can't do that in the menu here. There's a Triptronic jobby as well. 30,000 miles to change the oil in this gearbox, by the way, and this has already been done, and the software's been updated. I recommended this guy to he actually just went to Audi to do that. It is easy enough done, but because there's been a number of software updates for this Triptronic gearbox. So I told him to go to Audi to do that, and he was okay with that. So anyway, we'll come back out of that, and yeah, there's no there's no parameter in this thing to take that inspection due off. So you need a scan tool to do that. A launch will do it, an Autel will do it, VCDS will do it, that OBD11 thing, it'll do it, and you know, any decent scan tool that anybody uses, but you can't do that without a scan tool. You'll not get rid of that light. So I'm going to do a full system scan that, and I'm going to just reset that while I'm here. So, and that's it. And take it for a wee test drive and stuff like that. Do a couple of wee recommendations for them, and that's basically it. So yeah, okay. So this these VAG ranges there, a few special tools if you're going to do this at home yourself or whatever. There's a wee bit more to it than meets the eye. Maybe it does seem oil change, spark plugs, gift. Anybody can do that, but you need those special tools that I showed you there in the video, and that's what this video is about. So it ain't as easy as what you think on this particular range of cars, and to get rid of that light there. So there's the mileage there that I did that at, 44, but it come up on the oil change there probably after the year. So I think that comes up every 2 years. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm not sure the interval on that. I can actually go into one of my scan tools, and I can set those times and dates and the mileages to near enough whatever I want. but I think he might actually want that changed. But I'm going to recommend he keeps it at a year for the oil anyway, and just advise him of those intervals. So there we go. That's it for this one. Many thanks for watching, and yeah, maybe you got something out of this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and there we go. Big Audi. All the best. Bye bye.